SumaGrow is an all-natural blend of native microbes selected for their abilities to increase plant growth and vitality.
What can products containing SumaGrow do for you? Grow healthier, hardier plants that are more resistant to drought and environmental stresses. Reduce and even eliminate your expensive fertilizer inputs. More importantly, earn higher profits from increased yields. SumaGrow is organically based and great for the environment. Visit our website to see how products containing SumaGrow can work for you.
No video.
It's okay.
Anyway, chairman has brought the video and everything, so no problem.
Okay, he is, we are just enormously lucky, okay, to have him with us here. Dr. Lalita, when we went to Dr. Ida and asked him to help us with this project a few years.
To me, the key item here when we're talking about the benefits of the product is the money. You know, one of the best salesmen I ever knew told me that if you want to make money, sell money. Now, we're not selling money, but to the farmer, we're selling the benefit of money. If we can increase his yield and decrease his costs, we're making farming much, much more profitable. In fact, in some crops, like cotton, we have doubled, tripled, and even quadrupled the bottom line profit of the cotton farmer.
Right? So, I hope it is not too provocative to say that microbes enliven the planet. In fact, it is microbes that make the planet alive. And so the microbial solutions at the top is very appropriate, and the products we are producing obviously are microbial. Talking about green, there is nothing more green than a green plant. And so we are talking about utilizing the microbes to increase productivity of the plants. Why are we talking about microbes to increase plant productivity? It is the microbes that enliven the soil, and without microbes, soil is dead.
Is there any possibility of mutation having any effect?
Yeah, it could be now, because once you release the organisms in the soil, mutation could be there. Adaptation, that's why it could be there. It may be good or it may be bad. But never that with all our, so far the reports what we have got, it's always good, because mutations only less. But even in the lab, we do some mutants. We produce some mutants. It's for the benefit of the integrated pest and disease management, because a farmer won't keep quiet. If I say use my SumaGrow as a biological control, he will go and look for a pesticide. If it is some insect, he will look for some insecticide and he will spray that. Under such conditions, my organism should be adapted. So we do these experiments under field conditions. The percentage of natural mutation is less, unless otherwise you have a severe UV exposure or something, it is less. But most of the cases that these microbes are miracle organisms, they can adopt. See, they will see that if it is a conducive environment, they flare up. But if the environment is not conducive, they are quiescent, they are silent. And when the environment is conducive for them, they act. And we have the different, I told you the different organisms, taxonomically different and also with the different colonization. So they act as buffers, they compensate, like sometimes fast growing, sometimes slow growing. So one organism, when it grows and it degrades some organic compounds or the pollutants, the other organisms, they make use of it and they grow. So that's why I told you it is nature. And in nature, these organisms are available, but not into the proportion what it is required to give the beneficial effect for the plants. This is what I'm saying. So when we are working out, when we are recommending a dose for you, we are saying that particularly 10 to the power of 10 colony forming units. It's based on to that, a billion of conidia, billion of colony forming cells are being worked out and is given to you as the formulation. Yes?
You said that.
Dusty, a little over a year ago, we started working with you with some projects using SumaGrow, and I'm just curious as to your feelings about what you've seen with using soil microbial products, specifically SumaGrow, in your pastures.
Well, Dr. Williams, I'll tell you, I've been very pleased with it. Of course, last year was one of the most harshest droughts we've ever had in our history around here. And for anything to grow grass last year, I was pretty proud of it. The SumaGrow, of course, this particular place I'm on, before we started trying to raise pastures and put cattle on it, a large percentage of the topsoil had been removed for some commercial projects, and of course being a challenge to grow grass. And that has been a challenge until last year. Even in the drought, the places that I used SumaGrow, I grew grass in some really bad spots that I've not been able to before. The other visual observations that I made was the tonnage on the ground as you looked at the grasses were comparable, you know, but the cost per acre was, I mean, it was off the charts how much more economical the SumaGrow was. And that was the main thing that I liked. It, you know, as I told you when we started, it hasn't got to outperform commercial fertilizer. As long as it gets close, the dollar values makes it head and shoulders above.
Well, you know, that Dusty, you know, we've used chemical fertilizer for decades in our industry, and it's a product that's been readily available to us. However, we've got 2 to 3 primary problems with it presently. One is cost.
Absolutely.
Chemical fertilizer has risen dramatically in cost over the last several years, and it's going to continue to do so. One of the other major factors, though, with the use of chemical fertilizer, particularly long term, is that we actually lower the organic matter in our soil and contribute to acidification of our soil using chemical fertilizers. So in looking at factors like that, and as a producer that, as you said earlier, had some initial problems with soil fertility and soil organic matter, how important is it to you to be able to use a product that will actually increase and build soil organic matter versus detracting from our soil organic matter?
That is a huge plus. You know, like when we started this test here, you know, we talked about residual values and things like that, which we didn't have an answer to yet because the product has not been around long enough. But the residual value that you get from this product, if it continues like it appears that it's going to, and we continue to build this organic matter, for me especially, and I think anybody else in the industry, that's huge, absolutely huge.
Phosphorus and to solubilize that phosphorus in the soil and make it bioavailable to the plant and therefore also available to the animal. You know, some other things that we have noted, both in the work that we've done with you and with others around the country with their forages, is that we have certainly seen that we've had an increased level in bricks, or that nutrient density in our forages. How important is that to you as a cattle producer in looking at having forages that are basically more nutrient dense, more power packed? What does that mean to you?
Well, you know, that's what it's all about. You know, growing a grass, growing a forage that the animal can get the most from. So, and that's the whole gist. You know, just like some of the, we did some hay samples here on some traps that were commercial fertilized, and traps that had SumaGrow. And the SumaGrow consistently ran about 1% higher in protein than did the traps that we use commercial fertilizer.
So that's exactly what we've been noting in a number of other trials, and you know, as you're aware, we have done some trials, particularly at a couple of universities, where we have noted a significant increase in average daily gain in the cattle that were grazing the SumaGrow treated pastures versus those that were grazing the commercially fertilized. So that sort of backs up what you're talking about, that we have actually seen the better daily performance out of the cattle when we have a higher brix level.
Absolutely. You know, you want all the power in every mouthful of grass that cow gets, and that's what the game's about.
I want to tell you, I know beans. Where I use biossoil, it really made a difference. But you know, black beans are a lot like.
You know, after watching that display of brilliance this morning, all I can say at this point is, wow. As Wayne said, I own Taylor Made Enterprises, a construction and auction company, and our auction business focuses mainly on livestock and real estate auctions. And the best way to describe my place would be to compare it to a mini experiment station. So when Dr. Williams, a longtime friend of mine, told me about SumaGrow, I certainly was receptive to the idea of trying it. However, after hearing what all this SumaGrow could do, I told Dr. Williams that if this snake oil would do all that he said that it would do, and if it will work on my place, that it would work anywhere, because most of the topsoil had been removed for some construction projects. Our place is set up in 8 different traps so that cattle can be rotated in and out, and so it was relatively easy to experiment with various traps to see how SumaGrow compared to various control traps. Some traps only got SumaGrow applications, some only commercial fertilizer, some got a combination of both, including one that got some chicken litter. The results were that during the worst drought I've ever seen in my lifetime, I grew grass in areas that I've never grown grass in the past. If you have any doubts about the benefits of SumaGrow, pay close attention to the next 2 slides. What you're looking at is grass this is strictly volunteer. Strictly volunteer. This trap got no SumaGrow. In only 15 days, look at the difference.
And we were introduced to SumaGrow about 3 years ago. Used it in the garden. Couldn't believe how well everything worked. So we started using it in the hayfield. Everything just seemed to work so much better when we used the SumaGrow. We had an opportunity through NRCS to get a high tunnel. We've had it about 1.5 years now. And the first thought we had was SumaGrow, because it had to be an organic high tunnel. So the first thing we did was get it built, treated it with SumaGrow, and decided to put tomatoes in it. This was our growth at 2 weeks. The ones on the right, the ones on the left we had planted that day. We used a proportioner to put the SumaGrow through an irrigation system. We irrigate from our a farm pond. We draw the water out of that, use the proportioner to put the SumaGrow in there, and run it through the drip lines with the tomatoes. This is at 4 weeks. This is at 6 weeks. That's my husband over there. See how tall it's growing. This is about 8 weeks. And this is about 10 weeks. And this is about a couple of weeks after that. We had a really big day. We picked 1,000 pounds of tomatoes in one day. Out of that, it was a 30 by 96 high tunnel. So.
Good morning. I'm Bob Groove from Montgomery, Michigan. I'm a continuous corn farmer. We've had continuous corn now for about 7 years. And what we were doing before I met Wayne was we're putting fertilizer on in the fall, spreading it. We're putting on a soil a residue package on in the fall. Then in March, we'd put some more fertilizer on. Then we'd plant the corn with fertilizer. Then when the corn got about knee-high, we'd apply some more mineral fertilizer. And then we tissue test when the corn was approximately 8 to 10 inches. And the crop production, people would say, out of the 20 different nutrients that they're testing, you're short on this, or whatever. So then after we got them results back, we'd foliage spray whatever we thought the crop needed. And we were spending a tremendous amount of time and money doing all of this. I met Wayne. We talked in depth for quite a while. And I tried his product. And the first year, we just had phenomenal results on several different fields. And it did vary from 5 to 40% yield increase. And so anyway, the next year we went to about 90% of his product, and we eliminated applying fertilizer in the fall, the residue spray, applying fertilizer in March. Now we basically plant Roundup Ready corn, spray it with Roundup, use the SumaGrow and nitrogen, and that's it. And we've been saving a lot of time. It's been a lot easier on the employees, less chance of chemical injury and all this stuff. It's increased our yield, making it a lot simpler and faster to take care of the crop. We get to harvest approximately a week quicker than a lot of the other local farmers. 3 years out of 4, the local elevators needed corn earlier than usual, so they're offering a 30 to 35 cent premium for early delivery. And we were always there. We were one of the first ones to deliver corn. A lot of times, by the time the neighbor's corn was ready, we were 75% done. And a lot of our corn, like the first 60 to 80%, we received a 35 cent premium. And so that was a big help. We're at 6.2 miles an hour, 16 inches deep. And when we got done with our soil,
we work hard. Here.
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 And especially here.
That's why we grow with SumaGrow. Growing with SumaGrow increases our crop yields and reduces our dependence on fertilizers. We get earlier germination rates and longer grazing days.
SumaGrow is all natural and good for the environment, and the crops that we grow are higher in nutrient content, which is better for our livestock and especially our kids.
SumaGrow products are formulated for row crops, hay and forages, fruit and vegetable crops, and even household plants. SumaGrow actually improves the structure of the soil, building organic matter and helping balance the soil pH. SumaGrown crops are stronger, healthier, more able to withstand disease, pests, extreme temperatures, and drought. SumaGrow increases our yields and reduces our input costs, giving us a healthier bottom line and a little more time for the more important things in life.
Yes, right. The exopolysaccharides, you guys probably know, is a microscopic film, okay, that will encapsulate the sodium and render it neutral. Absolutely. We do a lot of sodium suppression.
Que Honduras pues es uno de los países más afectados por el cambio climático a nivel mundial.
El producto de una forma rápida de lo que es la compañía, y yo les voy a hacer la presentación que está traducida para explicarles qué es el
objective when we began this project years ago.
Asumimos nosotros que en Palma no sabemos cómo funciona tanto la palma, pero asumimos que en un mes ya se va a ver, los microorganismos entran a trabajar inmediatamente. Estábamos viendo que las condiciones van a ser excelentes para palma porque la palma... unos análisis de suelo y el doctor quedó impresionado de la cantidad de materia orgánica que ustedes tienen en ese valle. No esperaba ver eso porque es raro verlo. Si algún día necesitan algún consejo, pues tienen una persona con un doctorado en ese tema.